Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing good and welcome to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes. I'm your mentor Amit Ajmani and in today's class we'll be discussing further about control and coordination. Now our previous lecture we discussed a lot many questions based on the chapter, and in the end I told you that we'll be starting up a new chapter in the next class, but I found a few more questions which are worth discussing from the same chapter. So let us discuss those questions first, then we'll be starting up the new topic. Let us see few more questions regarding control and coordination. The first question is, which of the following acts as a stimulus in the process of hydrotropism? Now, we know that hydrotropism is basically a kind of tropic movements in response to water. Now, the best thing is try to relate. The stimulus is hydro, that is water, and the way, just see what examiner is asking. The stimulus is hydrocarbon, hydrogen oxide, hydrogen chloride, or hydrogen peroxide. Just see what kind of question he is asking and the option he is giving. We should know that what exactly is water. Water is obviously H2O, which is hydrogen oxide, right? So B is the correct answer to this particular question. Most of you must have enjoyed this question. I did when I saw it first. Let us do the next question. The growth movement of a plant part in response to the touch of an object is called, we know that touch is thigmo. So it is thigmotropism. One more option for thigmo is given to us. It can't be hydrotropism. It can't be geotropism. We know that thigmo means touch. But now the difference between these two options is one is thigmonasty and one is thigmotropism. So which of these is our answer? For that we need to relate the question again. Response to touch is thigmo, but the growth movement. And we should remember the topic that tropism is a growth movement and nastic movements are growth independent movements. So if we are talking about the growth movement, our answer is thigmotropism. That is the C part. Why it is not thigmonasty? It is very important to understand and relate the difference between the two. Clear? So next comes the third question. The climbing organs of plants like tendrils grow towards any support which they happen to touch. And wind about the support. This is an example of, we are talking about touch. It can't be chemo because it is related to chemicals. It is not nastic movement because once again growth word is mentioned. We'll cut it, strike it off. It is not geo, it is not related to gravity. Again it is thigmotropism. Tropism because the growth is there, movement is there, and touch, that is why thigmo. So once again the correct answer is C, that is thigmotropism. Clear? Let's see the next question. The rate of growth in roots is decreased by one of the following plant hormones, and this plant hormone is auxins. We have done in the previous class that auxins decrease the rate of growth in the roots, right? So the correct answer is auxins. Coming to the fifth question. When the leaves of Mimosa pudica plant are touched with a finger, they fold up quickly. This is an example of, is it chemo? No. This is thigmonasty. Yes. Photonasty? No light is involved. Thigmotropism? Not tropism, because It is the folding up of the leaves of the Mimosa pudica, which is also known as the touch me not plant. So now in this case, it is thigmonasty, not thigmotropism. Clear? Coming to the next question. Dandelion flowers open the petals in bright light during the daytime but close the petals in dark at night. Now this response of dandelion flowers to light is called, now because it is related to light, photo means light. Thigmo is touch, cross this option. Chemo is chemical, cross this option. Photo is once again light. So now we are left with two options. Is it phototropism or photonasty? Both are in response to light, but the difference is not photo. It is tropism and nastic movement. How we are going to relate the difference? Just like thigmotropism and thigmonasty, it is the same, that tropism is the growth movement, whereas nastic movements are growth independent movements. And here, in case of dandelion flowers, it is just the closing and opening of petals. No growth is actually being mentioned. So the answer to this question will be photonasty, not phototropism. You need to relate while answering such type of questions. Clear? Next, to which of the following directional stimulus roots of a plant do not respond? Now the roots of the plant respond to moisture. They show positive hydrotropism. Candlelight, it is photo, so they will be showing negative phototropism. But touch, roots do not relate with touch. Gravity, roots do show positive geotropism. So it is the touch to which the roots of plants do not respond if touch is the stimulus. So the correct answer that we will be marking in this particular question is touch. Okay. Coming to the eighth question. One of the following is not caused by the growth related movement of the concerned plant part. It is not caused by the growth related, right? First is phototropism, another is photonasty, another is thigmonasty, and the last option is thigmotropism. Quite importantly, the tropism are growth related, so we are going to strike off these options. Now we are left with photonasty and thigmonasty. Out of these, thigmo is pressure due to which there will be no growth whatsoever. Regarding the light, there may be some kind of growth related to it, but thigmo can't create any kind of growth related movement. So we will mark the C option to be our correct option to this particular question, that is thigmonasty. Coming to the next question. The bending of the root of a plant away from a source of light is caused by a plant hormone called. Now this is the bending of root. This is the negative phototropism of roots, which are caused by, again, auxins. We have studied earlier also that it is caused by auxins. So D, auxin, is our correct option. Clear? Now the next question says, most of the plant hormones promote plant growth. A plant hormone which inhibits growth. We know that the only plant hormone which inhibits growth is the abscisic acid. It is ABA. It is the negative hormone which inhibits growth. Fine. Coming to the next question. The movement of a shoot towards light. When we are concerned with light, it is not geo, it is not hydro, it is not chemo, it is the phototropism. That is the movement of parts of plants in response to light, and shoots, we know that they grow towards light, they show positive phototropism. Clear? Next question. The bending of the stem of a plant towards the source of light is caused by the action of a plant hormone or a phytohormone known as. Now you need to be very cautious whether it is the bending of root or bending of stem. Bending of root will be away from the source of light, and that was because of the auxins, and the bending of stem is towards the source of light, and again this is caused by auxin only. This is positive phototropism shown by the stem by growing towards or bending towards source of light. Clear? Coming to the next question. Which of the following plant part exhibits negative phototropism? Phototropism is the movement in response to light, and because it is negatively mentioned, so it will be away from light. So out of roots, leaves, branch and stem, which part grows away from light? It is the roots which grow underground. So they are growing away from light, so they are showing negative phototropism. Here, coming to the next question. Which of the following are not tropisms? Growing of pollen tube in response to a sugary substance, it is a tropism, it is chemotropism. Folding up of leaves of sensitive plant in response to touch, this is not tropism, this is thigmonasty that we observed in case of the touch me not plant, Mimosa pudica plant. Winding of tendril around a support in response to touch, this is thigmotropism, right? Opening up of the leaves of a daisy flower in response to light, once again this is the opening up, growth independent movement, this is also not tropism, this is also, this is photonasty. So out of these, option number 2 and option number 4 are not tropic movements but nastic movements. 1 and 3 are tropic movements, 2 and 4 are not. And in the question, it has been asked which of the following are not tropism. So we will mark the option containing second and fourth. And if we relate first and second, second and third, first and fourth, second and fourth. So D is the correct answer. Second and fourth options are not tropisms. Clear? Let's see what is the examiner asking in the next question. A cell or a group of cells in a sense organ which is sensitive to a particular type of stimulus is called, now they are called receptors. Receptors are the cells or the group of cells in sense organs which are sensitive to particular type of stimulus. It may be any form. And the receptors we already know, there are 5 receptors: thermo, photo, phono, olfacto and gustatory. And this is what exactly is being asked in the next question. Let us see. Which of the following cannot be considered a receptor? Ear is a receptor, phonoreceptor. Nose for smell, olfactoreceptors. Muscles are not receptor organs, they are effector organs. Eyes are the basic our photoreceptors. So muscles, these are the effector organs rather than receptor organs. So this is not considered a receptor, and this is our answer, option number C to this particular question. Clear? Coming to the next question. One of the following acts as an endocrine gland as well as an exocrine gland. We know the dual glands. Salivary gland is not a dual gland because it secretes saliva into the salivary duct. So it is only exocrine gland. Pituitary is only endocrine gland as It secretes insulin and glucagon in the blood. Pancreas is our dual gland. In the previous class also we have seen few questions coming on this topic. Pancreas act as both exo as well as endocrine glands, because as exo they secrete pancreatic juice in the pancreatic duct, and as endocrine gland they secrete insulin and glucagon into the blood. Parathyroid, sorry, for pituitary, I think I told insulin glucagon. I'm sorry. Pituitary is growth hormone and FSH and LH, right? It is also a endocrine. It is the pancreas which secretes insulin and glucagon. Parathyroid, you know, it is an endocrine gland which secretes parathormone in the blood. So the dual gland out of these four is the pancreas. Option number B. That is what we are going to mark. Coming to the next question. Which of the following helps in maintaining posture and balance of the human body? We know it is cerebellum, the part of the hindbrain which maintains posture and the balance of the body. Cerebrum is the thinking, logic, memory and reasoning part. Medulla is for involuntary actions. Pons is for regulating the rate of respiration. So the correct answer is cerebellum. Next question. The number of pairs of nerves which arises from the spinal cord. We need to remember that from spinal cord 31 pairs they arise from the spinal cord. In the previous class, if you remember, there was a question regarding cranial nerves. Cranial nerves are 12 pairs of cranial nerves, whereas spinal nerves are 31 pairs. So please make a note of it. It is 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Next, very easy question. I think everyone must know the answer to this question. Cerebellum, medulla and pons are of course the parts of hindbrain. Midbrain has no bifurcation. Forebrain consists of cerebrum and the four lobes: temporal, parietal, frontal and occipital. Spinal cord doesn't have any kind of bifurcations. So it is our hindbrain, which consists of cerebellum, medulla and pons. Coming to the next question. Which of the following are cerebral reflexes? Now we know cerebral means related to brain, and these are the reflexes which are voluntary, which are done willingly, voluntarily. Let us see. A person pulls away his hand on touching a hot object. This is not a cerebral reflex, it is a spinal reflex action. A person spits out immediately when a fly enters his mouth while talking. Now this is a cerebral reflex, right? A person walking barefoot lifts its foot at once on stepping onto a nail. Again, this is a spinal reflex, not the cerebral. Next is a person's pupil contracts at once in the presence of bright light. This is a cerebral reflex where brain is involved, right? So second and fourth are our cerebral reflexes. First and third are our spinal reflexes. So the answer that we are going to mark is second and fourth. In A we have got first and second. No. Second and third. Second is correct but not the third. Crossing it. Third and fourth. Fourth is correct, not the third. Crossing it. Second and fourth. This is our answer. So D part is the right answer to this question. Coming to the next question. Iodine is necessary for the synthesis of which of the following hormone? It is but obvious thyroxine. Iodine is necessary for the synthesis of thyroxine, which is secreted by thyroid gland present in the neck. And we know this thyroxine basically helps in the carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism in the body. And we should also remember that deficiency of iodine causes a disease known as goiter. which is swollen neck, which is due to the enlargement of thyroid gland because of the deficiency of iodine. Clear? Coming to the next question, which of the following is a mismatched pair? Adrenaline is to pituitary gland. Adrenaline is secreted by adrenal gland, not the pituitary gland. So this is a mismatched pair. Estrogen is secreted by ovary. Pancreas secrete insulin. Progesterone is secreted by ovary. So here we are talking about the glands and their secretions. Rest all are correct except the first option, which will be our answer, that adrenaline, it is secreted by adrenal gland, or other way around, pituitary gland secretes growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, vasopressin, not adrenaline. So we will mark A to be our correct answer. Coming to the next question, which one of the following is an incorrect statement about insulin? Let us go through. It is produced in pancreas. It is right. Correct statement. It regulates growth and development of the body. No. What is the function of insulin? Very simple, very common. It decreases the blood sugar level, which is the next option given. It regulates the blood glucose level in the body. Yes, it is the actual function. And its deficiency in the body will cause diabetes? Surely yes. So B statement is the incorrect one and will be our correct answer to this question. That insulin regulates growth and development? No. Okay. Next, the spinal cord originates from, is it cerebrum or medulla or cerebellum or pons? So when we have taken up the topic of brain in the diagram, I specially highlighted that it is after medulla that the spinal cord originates. So the correct answer is medulla. Okay. Coming to the next question, the involuntary actions in the body are controlled by, this is a repeated question, I suppose we have done as it is. All the options given to us are medulla, but we know that medulla is not in midbrain, it is not in spinal cord, it is not a part of forebrain, it is a part of hindbrain. And this medulla controls all the involuntary actions like coughing, sneezing, etc. etc. So medulla, part of hindbrain, is responsible for controlling the involuntary actions in the body. Next, which of the following is not an involuntary action? Vomiting is involuntary. Chewing is not an involuntary action. It is voluntary. Heartbeat, involuntary, we cannot control. Salivation, involuntary, not under our control. But chewing is under our control. It is a voluntary action, not an involuntary action. So we will mark the option B to be the correct option. Let's see what question number 29 has in store for us. Which of the following hormones prepares our body for action in emergency situations? We know that the emergency hormone is adrenaline, secreted by the adrenal glands. And this adrenaline prepares our body for emergency situations, and for which it is also known as emergency hormone or the triple F hormone, fight, fright and flight hormone, right? And how does it prepare our body? It increases the rate of breathing, it increases the rate of heartbeat, rate of blood pressure and the rate of respiration, due to which more oxygen is taken in, more oxygen is quickly supplied to the cells, and it oxidizes the food to liberate more energy in order to cope up with the emergency situations. So the correct answer is adrenaline, right? Coming to the next question. One of the following controls the peristaltic movements of alimentary canal. Peristaltic movement is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles of alimentary canal to push the food further. It is an involuntary action, and involuntary action, peristalsis, is controlled by medulla. Cerebrum is the reasoning, thinking, logical part, memory part. Pons deals with the rate of respiration. Cerebellum maintains the body posture and the balances. It is the medulla which controls this involuntary action of peristaltic movements of alimentary canal. So the right answer is D, medulla. Coming to the next question. The hormone which is associated with male puberty. Now this hormone is testosterone, because estrogen and progesterone are secreted by ovaries, which are present only in females, and adrenaline has nothing to do with male puberty. It is an emergency hormone. It is the testosterone. And what is the function of testosterone? It is responsible for the development of all secondary sexual characters in males. So the right answer you are going to mark is C, that is testosterone. Coming to the next question. Which of the following endocrine gland does not occur as a pair in the human body? This question we have already seen. It is the pituitary, which is single. It does not occur in pair. Otherwise, the rest of them, adrenal, there are two adrenal glands on the top of each kidney, and we have got two kidneys. Testes, we have got a pair of testes. We have got a pair of ovaries. So it is the pituitary which does not occur in pairs, and this is our correct option B. Next question. The junction between two adjacent neurons. We know that junction is known as synapse. It is the microscopic gap joining two neurons. At times it is quite different and difficult to understand and relate, and quite ironical that there is a gap which is connecting two things. But this is what exactly synapse is. It is a gap which connects the nerve endings of one neuron to the dendrites of another neuron. Clear? Relating the next question, the life processes in humans are controlled and regulated by. All the life processes are controlled. What are the two systems that control our body? It's not the reproductive. Endocrine, yes, but not reproductive, cancelling out this option. Respiratory and nervous. Nervous system is responsible, but not the respiratory, cutting out this option also. Endocrine system or the hormonal system is correct, but not the digestive system. So it is the nervous and endocrine systems which actually relate all the process of control and coordination in our body. Clear? So D is the correct option that you are going to mark in your exam if this question comes. Coming to the next question, a doctor advised the person to take injections of insulin. Now, insulin secreted by pancreas, and the function is to decrease the blood sugar level. And we know that the deficiency of insulin causes diabetes. And in diabetes, the blood sugar level will be high because the insulin is undersecreted. Therefore, the blood sugar level has increased, and that is why the doctor is prescribing injections of insulin. So what will be the correct option? Let us see the options. His blood pressure was high. No, it's the blood sugar level. Heartbeat was high. Again, no. Blood sugar was high. Yes, this is what we were looking for. Thyroxine level in the blood was high. Insulin has nothing to do with thyroxine or thyroid gland. So the right answer is C part, that is blood sugar was high, because of which externally insulin is given, which is going to decrease the blood sugar level. Clear? Coming to the next question. All the voluntary actions of our body are controlled by. Now it is the voluntary actions. They are controlled by cerebrum, because all the sense organs, whatever we feel, any kind of change in our surroundings in any form, that is provided in the form of information to cerebrum. So the voluntary actions is the role of cerebrum. A will be marking as the right answer. Next, which of the following statements about thyroxine is not true? One of these statements is untrue. Rest three are fine. Let us see what all options are given. Thyroid gland requires iron to synthesize thyroxine. No, it is actually iodine, not iron. So this is the incorrect statement. Let us see the other statements for our knowledge and for our increasing the confidence for revision purpose. It regulates carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. It is a correct statement about thyroxine. Iodine is essential for the synthesis of thyroxine. Correct option. Thyroid gland can enlarge due to lack of thyroxine. Correct statement. So we have already marked A to be our correct answer to this question. Clear? Coming to the next question. Which of the following does not act as an endocrine gland as well as an exocrine gland? So we are required to answer that which of these is not a dual gland. Testes, we have already discussed, it is a dual gland. Ovary, it is a dual gland. Pancreas, it is a dual gland. Pituitary is not a dual gland. It is just an endocrine gland. It does not act as an exocrine. So we will mark pituitary to be our answer, that it is not an endo as well as exo gland. Fine. Next, the part of the brain which controls the involuntary actions such as heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure. I think that we already now are able to relate that it is medulla. So many times voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary is cerebrum, involuntary is medulla. Simple. Coming to the next question. Dwarfism results due to, let us see the options. Is it the excessive secretion of thyroxine? Is it the excessive secretion of growth hormone? Is it the less secretion of adrenaline or the less secretion of growth hormone? We should know that dwarfism is a disease caused by the less secretion of growth hormone. Had it been the excess secretion of growth hormone, the disease caused is gigantism. Less secretion of adrenaline does not cause any kind of disease. Excessive secretion of thyroxine causes the abnormality of malfunctioning of thyroid gland, right? So it is the less secretion of growth hormone which leads to this disease of dwarfism. So D is the right answer. Next question. The dramatic changes in body features associated with puberty are mainly because of the secretions of. Now in males and females, we know which are the hormones responsible. In females, it is estrogen, and in males, it is testosterone. So estrogen and testosterone, both are correct options, but still A is not the correct answer. Why? Because of the remaining part of the statement. Estrogen from testes. No. Testosterone from ovaries? No, it is the other way around. Estrogen is secreted by ovary and testosterone by testes. Estrogen from adrenal glands? Altogether no. Testosterone from testes? Yes. Estrogen from ovary? Yes. So simply mark C as the right answer. Let us see the fourth statement also. Testosterone from thyroid? Big no. So C is the right answer to this question. Coming to the next question. Which of the following statements is correct about receptors? I think this question we have already done. So we should be able to find out the right statement or the right option. First option is gustatory receptors detect taste. Yes. And olfactory detect smell. Correct. So in the very first option we got our answer. Clear? Both gustatory and olfactory detect smell? No. Auditory detect smell? No. Olfactory detect taste? No. So already that we have marked, A is the right answer. The rest of the answers we just saw the options in order to confirm our answer. Okay. Next, the part of the brain which takes part in regulating respiration. Now, regulating the rate of respiration is the function of pons. We know that, right? So B is the right answer to this question. Coming to the next, electrical impulse travels a neuron from. Now, this is the question which has been asked many a times. We should know the pathway, right? The information is taken by dendrites. So this is a possibility. It is not taken directly by cell body, not directly taken from axon end. So these two we can start off directly. Dendrite is the part which receives the information in the form of electrical impulses. Now from these dendrites, whether the information goes to axon and then cell body, no. The right path is the information from dendrite first of all goes to the cell body, from there axon and then axon end. So C is the right answer. Let's see the next question. In question number 45, the examiner is asking that in a synapse, chemical signal is transmitted from. Let us see the options given. Is it axon to cell body of the same neuron? Obviously not. Is it the cell body to axon end of the same neuron? Electrical impulses go from the cell body to axon but not in synapse. So this is also an incorrect option. Is it the dendrite end of one neuron? Neuron doesn't end in dendrite. So this is also incorrect. Is it the axon end of one neuron? Axon end to dendrite end of adjacent neuron. Correct. So this is what happens in synapse, that the chemical signal is transmitted from the axon end, that is the nerve endings of one neuron, to the dendrite end of the adjacent neuron. So D is the right answer to this particular question number 45. Let's see 46. In a neuron, the conversion of electrical signal to a chemical signal occurs at or in. Is it the dendrite end? No. Is it the cell body? No. Is it the axon end? Yes. At the nerve endings, this conversion of electrical signal into chemical signal occurs in the form of neurotransmitters. It is not even myelin sheath, because myelin sheath is for insulation and protection of axon. So the conversion place is axon end, and this is what we are going to mark to be our option for this question. Coming to the next question, one of the following gives the correct sequence of the components in a reflex arc. Now we know that in the reflex arc, the information is taken by the receptor organs. So all are correct. Now from receptors, whether they go to muscle, no, because muscles are the effector organs. Whether the signal is taken by motor neurons, no, because the information is carried from receptors through sensory neurons. So it can't be even spinal cord, it should be sensory neurons. Sensory neurons take this information from receptors to spinal cord. From spinal cord, the motor neurons will take the command for the effector organs, that is the muscles. So this is the correct sequence of components in a reflex arc. Very important. Do remember it, asked many a times. So D is what you are going to mark as your option for this question. Fine. Coming to the next question. Which of the following statements are true? Okay, we need to see where and how truth prevails. First option is sudden action in response to something in the environment is called reflex action. Yes, it is a sudden action. So we can say that this statement is true. Next, sensory neurons carry electrical signals from spinal cord to muscles in a reflex action. No, because this is done by motor neurons. We have just seen above that sensory neurons take the information in the form of electrical signals from receptor organs to spinal cord and from spinal cord to muscles. These are taken by motor neurons, not sensory. So this is an incorrect option. Third one is motor neurons carry signal from receptors. No, once again, they carry information from spinal cord. It is the other way around. It should be sensory neurons which are carrying signal from receptor to spinal cord. Fourth statement, the pathway of transmitting signals from a receptor to a muscle is a reflex action. Yes, this is what reflex action is. So in this question, statement number 1 and statement number 4, they are true. Statement number 2 and 3 are wrong. So let us see the options. 1 and 2. 1 is correct, not 2. Cancelling it out. 1 and 3. 3 is incorrect. Cancelling it out. 1 and 4. Yes. This is what our right answer is. 1, 2 and 3. No. So we'll mark C. 1 and 4th options. These are the true statements. Coming to the next question. The gustatory receptors of our body are in one of the following organs. This organ is, now the gustatory receptors are for taste. And from where do we taste? From the tongue, not the ear, nose or skin. In ears, we have got the phonoreceptors. In nose, we have got the olfactoreceptors for smell. And skin, we have got the thermoreceptors for temperature change. So tongue is where the gustatory receptors for taste are present. Here, next question, the olfactory receptors in humans are located in, just seen, olfactory are related to smell, they are present in the nose. So D, nose is the correct answer. Next question. The contraction of pupil of the eye in the presence of bright light is an example of. Is it a voluntary reflex, spinal, cerebral or adrenal? Now this is an example of cerebral reflex. This is done by the cerebral reflexes. Contraction of pupil in the presence of bright light. So the right answer is C. That is cerebral reflex. Next question. The faulty functioning of an endocrine gland. Which endocrine gland? We are not specified yet. The faulty functioning of an endocrine gland can make a person very short or very tall. Now this gland is it thyroid, pineal, adrenal or pituitary? We know the right answer is pituitary. Why? Because this pituitary secretes the growth hormone, and any faulty functioning of this pituitary gland which lead to the under secretion or over secretion of growth hormone will cause these diseases, making the person very short, disease called dwarfism, or very tall and giant like, which is called gigantism. So pituitary gland, D option is the correct answer. Let's see what question number 53 says. The underactive endocrine gland which causes goiter. Goiter is caused by the deficiency of iodine, and it is basically the enlargement of thyroid gland. So the underactive endocrine gland which causes goiter is thyroid. B is our correct answer. Let us see the next question. The endocrine gland whose malfunctioning causes diabetes. Diabetes is a disease in which the blood sugar level increases, and we know that it is the insulin which decreases the blood sugar level. So if a person is suffering from diabetes, that means insulin level is not up to the mark. Insulin is not sufficiently secreted, and insulin secretion is done by which particular gland? It is the pancreas. It is not the pineal or the pituitary or parathyroid. Pituitary secretes growth hormone, parathyroid is parathormone, pineal gland is a kind of vestigial gland, and it is the pancreas which secrete insulin. And if there is any malfunctioning in the pancreas, then insulin will not be secreted and blood sugar level will not be controlled, and thus the patient will be suffering from diabetes. So the right answer is D option, pancreas. Next question is, the use of iodized salt is recommended to prevent. Now iodine is required for the synthesis of what? Thyroxine, we just stated above. And if the thyroxine is working properly, then in that case the disease which can be prevented is goiter. Diabetes is basically due to lack of insulin. Dysentery is stomach infection caused due to infections. Gonorrhea is a sexually transmitted disease, nothing to relate with iodine or with hormones. Clear? So let's see the next question. In the next question, the examiner is asking which of the following are often called glands of emergency. Is it thyroid or pituitary or adrenal or pancreas? We know that glands of emergency are adrenal glands present on the top of each kidneys. Why they are called glands of emergency? Because they secrete an emergency hormone, that is adrenaline, which prepares the body for coping the emergency situations by fighting, by flighting, running away, or when we are in frightful situations, right? Thyroid, normally thyroxine, carbohydrate fat metabolism. Pituitary, growth hormone related to the growth and development. Pancreas, insulin and glucagon related to the blood sugar level management. So it is the adrenal gland which secrete emergency hormone adrenaline, and that is why they are known as glands of emergency. Got it? So this is all about control and coordination now. In the previous class also I told the same thing, but in this class I just got you some more questions related to the chapter, and I think that there must have been a few questions which were quite good, which were new to you people, and I think that it's worth discussing these questions. It's all about practice. After learning, the more questions you see, you practice, you attempt, the better you will become, more confident you will become, and you will be able to relate and check your own preparation level. Got it? So this is now all about control coordination. Make sure that you know the answers to all these questions. Make sure that you learn all the topics wherever you still feel that you are not yet 100% sure or not you are 100% prepared for it. Right? And now it's but obvious that in the next class definitely we are going to start up with a new topic, a new chapter. So please make sure that you learn how control and coordination takes place in plants as well as in animals. Right? So catch you soon. We'll meet you in the next class. Till then, have a great time. Take care of your health, take care of yourself, and study hard. And thanks for being a part of this class. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much.